As we begin the new Christian year, we turn to Matthew's Gospel and an extended passage which focuses on spiritual preparedness. It contains a straightforward message that disciples must be ready at all times for the end of the age. So I'm in Matthew's Gospel 24 and just choosing to read a part of what would be a much longer passage, verse 36 through to 44. But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding with a hand mill, one will be taken and the other left. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on the day the Lord will come. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what time of the night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would not have let his house be broken into. So you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. The Son of Man will come. Come is one of the great words of Advent. It's the whole meaning of Advent is caught up with, "Lo, I am coming." And that song that was sung by Deb just a few moments ago pictures it, "Come thou long expected Jesus." Come unexpectedly. And the suddenness emphasized in the thought of a thief at night. No one knows the hour. You know, one of the things about that verse that it took me some time to be able to grasp for myself is it really says not even the Son knows, only the Father. So it's very limited. It's with God the Father, this information. But you see, it's more than information. It's that gathering together, that drawing together of all things. As I've travelled around the world, I've discovered that children everywhere enjoy playing games. There are similarities between the games that they play. Even in the most difficult circumstances, people play games. One of the most widely practiced games is hide and seek. In this game, someone's on, and as we say, they close their eyes, and after slowly counting to, shall we say, 10, they cry out, "Here I am, ready or not." And you can see the link between that game in its simplicity and what it is that we celebrate as we move through Advent. You can see the association with this passage. The King of Kings will come one day. And although we've been given a warning, we do not have the exact time. You see, it'd be nice to have the time, wouldn't it? How many people throughout history have tried to work it all out and say, I think that Jesus is going to come on this date or that date. The world is all going to come to a close. Well, you can't know those things. But the real truth of the game is, are you and I ready? Are we ready? Are we expectant for the coming of one who will come into this world? Are we prepared? I suppose it's worth exploring for ourselves spiritually. What does it mean to be prepared for the coming of Christ? How many times during Advent and in the time that leads up to people say, I'm not prepared yet for Christmas. I haven't done everything that I ought to do. Well, there's a bigger question than that. Are we prepared for the coming of God in Jesus Christ? And what that means for us. We need to prepare our hearts, prepare our lives, and prepare ourselves that he may find his way into our lives. I suppose the question I have to ask is, what does it have to say to us about the way we live? Do we live in that spirit of expectancy? Do we live as though the first candle has been lit and those candles will persist and go to the moment when we light the King, the white candle on Christmas Day? There will be a time in which, as we light the candles of life, we know that his coming is ever getting nearer, closer and closer, nearer and nearer to the day when he will come in all his fullness. I like to think of the expectancy that God gives to us the eagerness that needs to be there in our hearts, open for him. I'm glad that we don't have the message, one person more than another. I'm glad that we can't have the date. For if we have the date, we might just sit back and say, well, it's not till a week next Thursday. We can forget it. But we don't know the date. We live as though it might happen in this moment. Even before the show is finished, Christ himself may come in all his fullness. Are we ready for him? Have we searched our hearts? Have we examined exactly what it is that needs to be ready within us? Have we got hearts that are repentant, hearts that are eager, hearts that are ready to welcome him fully into our lives? That readiness is the message that comes at Advent. So before you start wrapping presents, before you start having your list, make sure that as you travel through Advent, that you really make room for Jesus Christ. Too busy sometimes, are we? Ready? Busy? Well, make room for Christ, for he is coming. We cannot know when, but we know he will come.